first of all, thank you guys for coming out today. It is awesome to see how many people, how many faces are here. It's just, you know, we go to an awesome school where there's just such a involved student body in this process, and I just think that's an incredible testament to the student body that you guys make up. So thank you for being here. We're going to begin today by, I'm going to open us up in prayer. I'm going to invite the candidates up, and I'm going to also invite the moderator up, which is Corey O'Connor from the Empire State Tribune. And then we will begin, okay? So please bow your heads with me. Heavenly Father God, we thank you for this day that you've blessed us with. We thank you for the opportunity you have given us to serve this community of the King's College. We thank you for the opportunity of leadership that you have placed before us. And I just pray for focus and strength and commitment of the three candidates who will be speaking on behalf of their platforms today and their vision for the King's College student body. We pray for your blessings, and we pray for your comfort. We thank you, and we pray these in your Son's name. Amen. Amen. Okay, so the candidates, can you please come up? We have Reese Evans. Fermin Villalpando. And Tyler Hensley.
Cabinet members working towards your mission and your goal as student body president, whatever it is. I know all three of us offer different solutions for that. And then also you need to be the spokesperson of the school. And that is to our faculty and staff, to alumni, to donors, different aspects like that. So the SPP, they wear different hats, but in my opinion, they're all equally important.
Okay, thank you. Next, we will head to Furman. So Furman, what do you see as the role for SBP?
Hi. Well, talking to Maxine and talking to fellow students around campus, the student body president has, like Reese pointed out, three main goals: running the council, being the representative to like the students, and the representative to people like donors and faculty and staff. However, one big aspect of the student body president that seems to be like less acknowledged is the fact that they have to run the council. The council should represent each and every single one of you. So if the council isn't representing each and every one of you, that means the student body president, who's supposed to represent the whole student body, isn't doing their job effectively. So one key aspect that needs to be fixed, and Maxine has done a good job at this, but one thing that needs to be improved, because it's been seen as a problem, is that the student body president needs to represent all students at the King's College, not just certain cliques, not just certain houses, but every single student of the King's College. Sure, representing the school to alumni and donors is a big part of it, but that's not the main objective of the job.
Thank you, Furman. Tyler, what do you see as the role for SBP?
Hi, everyone. So how I see the main role of SBP is they have to be a friendly face on campus. They have to be able to be approachable by you guys, because we're representing you. They also need to be able to manage the cabinet well, run meetings well, and make sure that there's seamless communication between all the houses and the cabinet, and as well as the events committee, orgs, and athletics. I think there needs to be seamless communication presented at the council meetings. So that's how I see Student Body President.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, next question, guys. This one is going to begin with Furman. So Furman, why are you running for SBP, and what separates your platform from the other candidates?
Well, it took me quite a while to figure out why I wanted to run for SBP. Originally, I was going to run for my House President because it's quite easier to run for House President. But, but when I saw that certain students felt that their school wasn't working for them and that their student government wasn't actively representing them, I decided that I needed to run. I want to run not only for the prominent leaders of the school, the prominent people like Jonah Ortiz, who like dominates debate, and like John Seiler, who also dominates debate. But those students out there who may not attend all these school activities, the students who think that college should just be them going to classes and doing homework and just getting by. I want all students to feel welcomed at the King's College. And that's one of the main reasons why I ran for SBP. What separates me from the other two candidates is my focus on running the council, because without an effective council, there cannot be an effective student government. And without an effective student government, there's no point of having a student government.
Thank you. Tyler, now for you. Why are you running for SBP, and what separates your platform from the other candidates?
Well, okay, my freshman year, I never would have thought I would have been here, let's be honest. It's just like, it's an honor to be up here, standing and talking in front of you, everyone. So it was last semester, a couple House presidents, some people I really respected came up to me and they tossed the idea, they're like, hey, Tyler, you should consider running for SBP. I really thought about it over winter break, really prayed about it, and decided, why not? I'm gonna try it, see how it goes. And it seemed to make sense, honestly. I love the school. I love interacting with all the students. I've had the opportunity, serving on the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, to interact with various different groups among campus, various different houses as well. So it just seemed to fit for me. What's different about my platform is that I'm focusing on athletics along with creating opportunity within different houses, within all the houses, sorry. I already met with Bethany Jenkins, and she's on board with this, but she would like to see an associate position. Of course, the House's presidents and exec team can name it whatever they want, but an associate position that would train under her to serve as a career development liaison so that they can help the students in their house with internship opportunities and resume building as well. So I'd say that's how it separates me.
Okay, thank you. Reese, why are you running for SBP, and what separates your platform?
So there's two things why I'm running for SBP. One is because I love the school. Now, falling in love with the school is something that I guess I've never actually always loved this school. Coming here my freshman year, there was a lot of ambiguity with what was going on in leadership, administration, things like that. And so I actually took a leave of absence from for a semester. And during that semester, my friends from the House of Reagan, they reached out to me. Various people, James Benson reached out to me. And so I had a lot of people contacting me that were really good friends, and I realized what I left behind. And I left behind the vision of the King's College, which is to influence strategic institutions. And I know, like people always say, you always hear that. But how important is that to you? How important is it to get that job, get the experience you need, and to actually go into the workplace bringing Christ with you? And so I'm running for SBP because that, to me, is one of the most important things in my life, bringing Christ wherever I go. And also, having the opportunity to serve on the council as a president of Reagan, I believe has given me, I guess, different experience than them. My other two candidates, they do bring different unique skills, goals, but as far as looking at what I want to do, I want to allow people to get internships, get jobs, and influence society. So that's why I'm running for SBP.
Thank you. This question will begin with Tyler. Tyler, what have you learned during your time at King's that will influence your presidency?
Okay, give me a moment. This is what have I learned? I've learned that collaboration among students is one of the most important things that any leader needs to have and understand, because you can't do it on your own. You try to, you'll fail. You need to have a good team around you. I've learned that through SAC. I've learned that through College Republicans. You can't do it alone. Can you repeat the question again?
Yeah.
I got on a trail and I kind of lost track.
Yes. What have you learned during your time at King's that will influence your presidency?
Oh, yeah, okay, so collaboration. Okay, yeah. So, obviously, you need a good team. I feel like as a leader, I've learned to mix and mingle with different groups on campus, making friends and building relationships from a variety of different social cliques or whatever. But I think I'll be able to bring in various different representations on campus to build a good cabinet team, and that's what I've learned as my experience, yeah.
Great, thank you. Reese, now for you. What have you learned during your time at King's that will influence your presidency?
Well, my time at King's has been, I guess, very influential on how I view the school. From leaving, coming back, and then also serving as on on the golf team as the president, serving with Ty last year on the Student Athletic Advisory Committee, serving as the president of the House of Reagan, and hopefully serving as the student body president. Having these opportunities to serve, you have the opportunity to make a lot of choices. And with those choices, I'm very open. I've made a lot of mistakes. But the thing is learning from those mistakes, learning how to better improve, always continue to excel still more. And so that kind of mentality of already trying things out, being leadership in different areas of the school, and just loving it. Loving interacting with the student body, love interacting with my house, and just having this zeal for the student body and wanting to see everybody succeed. And so I don't doubt that my other candidates don't have the zeal, because I believe that if you're standing up here trying to run for SPP, you do have the zeal for the school. But I just love this school, and I love the experiences I have, and I've had through it. And so that's why I want to bring some what I've learned to the table as student body president.
Thank you. Okay, Furman, what have you learned during your time at King's that will influence your presidency?
Well, when I first came to King's, I wasn't really into King's. Hearing the mission statement for the first time, I was like, wow, that's a big responsibility, and I don't want to take that on, so I'm not going to follow that. But at fall retreat, either at fall retreat or statesmanship, I cannot remember, whoop-dee. Eric Bennett said that the mission statement isn't it isn't supposed to burden us. That influencing strategic institutions doesn't mean you have to run a Fortune 500 company or start a nonprofit organization somewhere. It means being a strategic leader in whatever community that you are. And I've learned that throughout my time at King's. So the second semester of my freshman year, I decided to run for helmsman for the House of Bonhoeffer. And helmsman is quite tough. I've learned from my mistakes. So the experience I've had as helmsman and as well as working on the Bonhoeffer exec team, and just seeing how James Benson interacts with the rest of the House presidents and the rest of the student body, I've learned that being present and talking to every single member of the student body, regardless of if they're the first in line at a house event or the person that doesn't show up at a house event, all these people matter because they're all part of our student body. We're all under the King's mission statement. So I've learned to interact with the people who may or may not come to these events, that may or may not be here right now. And yeah, that's what I've learned.
Thank you. This is going to go to Reese. Reese, what do you think is the single most important quality to have as the King's College SVP?
It's a loaded question. So I'll say single most, most important quality is the ability to listen and the ability to learn. I guess that's two. We'll just throw that in one. So ability to listen, ability to learn. One sentence. So ability to listen. Now, I am very understanding that I do not have all the ideas. Ask my exec team. They have helped me out so much this year. And the House of Reagan, just learning from what they tell me. So listening and then applying that to the school. And so the SVP, that's what your job is, to listen to the needs of the students, to listen to the needs of the faculty and staff, to listen to what people want, what people desire, and try to give it to them. And so far, hearing about what people want, people come to college for two reasons: to get a degree so they can get a job. And so understanding that, but also realizing that King's is very unique. We're located about 30 yards from the stock exchange and have the privilege of doing something so cool, and in the same way, representing what we believe in one of the most influential cities in the world. So understanding all of this and realizing that throughout it all, you have to listen to everybody in order to make the best decisions. So that's what I believe is two of the most single important things that an SVP should bring.
Thank you. Furman, what do you think is the single most important quality to have as the King's College SVP?
Well, I believe that the single most important quality of being SVP is knowing how to delegate. As helmsman, I've had quite a bit of trouble learning how to delegate and trusting others to do the things that need to get done. But the student body president already has a cabinet that is structured in order to make sure that delegation is happening. So the delegation that the SVP needs to have is kind of already there. But making sure that besides the people on the cabinet, that as well as the people in the council, that they're getting their jobs done. The House presidents need to make sure that everybody in their house feels actively represented in their house and in their school. A key aspect of the SBP role is delegating that power of representation throughout the rest of the House presidents, so that their representation can go down to the rest of the student body.
Thank you. Tyler, what do you think is the single most important quality as the King's College SBP?
All right, well, Reese, I totally agree with you. I think you nailed it. You need to be able to listen and make educated decisions on, okay, sorry, let me start over. So you need to be able to listen to your team, listen to what the student body wants. And from there, you have to be able to have the authority and confidence in making a decision that's best for the school. I think that's most important for SPP, is to make those hard choices sometimes. But along with that comes with delegating roles, like what Furman said. You need to be able to make the decisions so that you can delegate the right tools and opportunities for your cabinet and for your team to operate well, like the events committee. You need to make sure that you can give them enough that they can handle. You don't want to overflow them with too much work to do and stuff like that. So I would say that's knowing your team and being able to listen well is, yeah.
Okay. So that concludes our general questions segment. Now we're going to be moving into specific questions. And we're going to start with Reese. Reese, according to your platform, you say you will allocate funds to all for every house to go on a retreat. Where do you expect these funds to come from? In other words, which line item on the budget will receive less funding?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So for every year, the council receives a budget. And with this budget, over the last 5 or 6 years, so long, the percentages of the budget have been distributed to student orgs, student events, pretty equally, and to the houses. And so speaking to Stephanie Garner, who is this year's Director of Student Events, she agreed that there is some funds that can be allocated to houses, because the end goal of that is, being in my house, we always look forward to be able to go on retreats every year. And there's this great quote. It says, the key to happiness is having those around you who love you and you love them, and then always having something to look forward to. And I hate the fact that some houses don't have the opportunity to look forward to a retreat, because during retreats, you have so much opportunity to spend time in community with your houses outside the city. And it does so much for your community as a house. And so for those funds, I want to incentivize more house presidents. Now, I can't force, and that's something that I'm very understanding of. SPP cannot force, but I will highly recommend that each house will budget a certain amount of allocated funds from student events and from other organizations to help fund houses to be able to go on retreats, because I just know looking forward to that every year is just such a blessing for my house.
Thank you. Tyler, this is for you. According to your platform, you say you will work to create a SAC representative on the council. As the president of SAC, what do you think would be the primary benefit of having a SAC member on the council, and what do you propose for other student-led initiatives?
Okay, so serving as SAC president, I've realized how draining leadership in athletics can be. Athletics isn't a prominent thing at our school, we all realize that, but at most colleges as well, athletics does have a role on campus. Working with Sean and Brian has been extremely rewarding, but also really tiresome. So my goal, what I've been trying to do as president, is reviving that community spirit around athletics, and I say it has worked. We've seen attendance from last year double at athletic games, and so that's just pure sign to me that people are coming together, people are rallying around something to feel part of a community again. I think athletics is just another avenue for people to take to feel at home at King's. Other feel like the house system or their org, like TKC Republicans, theater, those are like their homes. So as SPP, I want to make sure people can thrive in their individual interests. And yeah.
Okay. Furman, In your platform, you state that you will actively make sure that each House president is constantly informing their House on actions of the Council. How do you plan to ensure that presidents communicate with their Houses?
Good question, Corey. There's no way that I can force each House president to follow a strict, set of rules as to how they send the information of the council to the rest of the houses. However, I can make sure that at least some form of communication is happening, at least an email once a week, maybe even once a month, or whenever, after every council meeting, making sure that the House presidents either notify their exec team, who can notify the rest of the House, or directly notify the rest of their House about what is going on in the council, bringing up new student orgs, bringing up any new actions concerning the budget of the King's Council. What was the question? So making sure that each House president is directly telling their House, or through their exec team, telling their House what is going on in the council so that they know that there's a student government going on and that the school isn't just the houses. And the houses are an amazing thing, I'll give you that. But the reason why we have a King's Council is to make sure that we're all working towards a common goal. And if House presidents aren't making sure that the people in their houses, if they're making sure that the students in their houses know that there's a student government working, then the student government thrives.
Thank you, Furman. Reese, it has been brought to our attention, and while reviewing your platform, we noticed that some of your statements are very similar to Johnny Lyle's platform last year, and in some cases verbatim. Why is this the case?
So, no, I thank you for bringing this out because this is something I definitely want to clarify. So, last year, Johnny Lyle, first of all, he's my roommate, so he's a great guy. But I've realized that being a leader, and this is from the president of the golf team, president of Reagan, making my way up, I've realized that I don't have all the good ideas. And that's something that any leader needs to understand. This is a quote from Mark Twain. He says that there is no such thing as new ideas. It's only using ideas to fit your own ideas, using previous ideas to fit your own ideas. And so if you read deeper into my platform, I put that there so that will remind you that I'm not running on my own ideas. These ideas that have already been put in place have worked. Now I have ideas from Maxine and Peter Fleming in there as well, because this isn't just me running with all my own ideas. I realize that I can't flourish and the school can't flourish with just Reese being the president, but I need to rely on those who have come before me. And it's back to that other question, it's listening to those around me, trying to understand what people want, trying to understand what people need. And so from serving on the council and seeing the needs, I'd say, of the student government, it's that community. And that's what I took from Johnny, is the community aspect of both within the house, but also outside the house. Now, I love my house, but I also love the school. And as student body president, that's something that you have to realize, that I'm not only here to serve the House of Reagan, I'm here to serve the King's College. And so bringing both Max's and Johnny's and Pete's ideas into play here really helped me develop my campaign to have a fuller idea of how to make the school succeed.
Thank you. Tyler, in your platform, you said that your three-point plan came from asking yourself how the King's community could be more connected. How will the new associate position for internship connections and resume building connect the community?
Okay, well, great question. Well, after talking to various students, a lot of the concerns that they've felt is that career development is too busy. They have to wait too long to meet with Bethany, meet with one of the students working under her to get their resume revised, or meet to talk about internship opportunities. I don't know if you guys know, but the team working under Bethany just came out with a Google Doc that lists all the internship opportunities as well as overall themes. So if you're interested in like church service, banking, finance, you can go there, you can find your interests and find an internship through there. So that's something that her team has been working on. Her team has been developing projects like that to better serve the community as a whole. So because of that, people have felt like they haven't been able to meet with her as regularly as they want. So that's why we need to have these associate positions within each house so that they can delegate more responsibilities from Bethany Jenkins so that people can go to their associate, have a resume done, have a final draft so that when they meet with her, they're not coming back again and again and again going over rough drafts, but they're going to her once or twice with a final product ready to apply for their internship.
Great, thank you. Furman, one of the themes of your platform is continuity. Other than through hosting another great fall retreat and having more community service events, how will your theme of continuity play out?
Great question, Corey. The way I'll make sure that my theme of continuity keeps playing on is making sure that I keep asking Maxine and last year's student body president, Peter Fleming, what they did right, what they did wrong, what Maxine wishes she could have done, what her vision is, plus, and how that fits with my vision. And besides planning service events, I don't think it's such an easy job to plan a service event. It took Lucy Lefebvre and City Engagement months to plan this school-wide student event. So if it were easy to just plan them and have that be my one and only thing, sure, I'd have other things to do. But it's been proven that it's been quite difficult to plan a school-wide service event. This year was the first time, and the school has been here for 10 years now. So I believe that making sure that service happens throughout the community is a big issue that needs to be addressed. And if it were such an easy job, sure, I'd have other things to do. But I feel like that's one thing that we need to focus on. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So now we're going to move into a time where each of you guys can ask another candidate a question. And so you guys can choose. I'll tell whoever's. So right now we're going to start with Reese. He's going to have a choice to ask either Tyler or Furman a question.
Yeah. So, Ty has questions for you.
All right.
So on your platform, you do have this need of a new associate position. And so I have a couple points to make on this, and then I want to ask the question. So serving this year as the president, I'll just say, and we've used them already, so hey, James Benson, we're bringing you in again. So me and James Benson, we use associate positions very differently. And so for you to highly recommend, because the student body cannot force by the Constitution a new associate position. Personally, I would see this as an unnecessary middleman because Bethany Jenkins already has 3 student workers for her. And so could I ask the benefits of having a student associate within a house go and, with Bethany Jenkins, because he or she would already be taking time out of their day to meet with Bethany, rather than just having one of the student assistants who already works with Bethany, who already knows her platform, how resumes are done. Why not just have one of them come to you, speak to your house?
Okay, yeah, so you're right. As student body president, and this is was not what I was advocating for. SBP president cannot force or push for a house president to have an associate position. It's just something I would advocate for and advise. It would look different in every house. Maybe they just send their scholar instead to train under Bethany. Or maybe they want to go ahead with this and have a new leadership role where individuals in their house have an opportunity to develop leadership skills and then serve their house that way. And you said, why don't they just work with student service or her team? Well,
yeah, she has three student workers under her who already know how she uses a resume and already been invested in.
So her student workers, after meeting with her, they're already they have their own projects Bethany's been putting them on, and so that takes up a lot of their time to help build up the career development institution as a whole at our school. So they're often really busy, and Bethany's also really busy working on boosting up. I'm out of time. Boosting up the career development.
But then how would you have 10 house presidents meet? That's okay.
No,
never mind,
you guys will have a time to go back and forth in a little bit.
At the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Okay. And Maxine, just to clarify, we're doing 2 minutes on each of these sections. Is that correct?
Questions to each other are 1 minute.
Do you think we should? Was that 1 minute? Okay.
1 minute question, 1 minute response from the candidate who's getting asked.
Okay.
So Tyler only has 1 minute. Yeah. Reese spent more time asking the question.
Okay.
Come on, Reese.
Sorry.
Yeah, and if you guys, like, instead of asking follow-up questions, just hold that for the concurrent speaking.
Okay.
Okay, Furman, it's your choice, your chance to ask a question.
Okay, I'll ask Reese first. So Corey brought up the point that I was going to bring up at this point, your similarity of your platform with Johnny Law's platform, but you've already answered that. However, I do want to ask you, why do you think that just one short year later after Maxine Folletta was elected, why do you think the student body needs this platform this year?
Oh, no, that's actually a really good question. So Max came in last year, and she did something that I think was bold, I'd say, as a student body president, and it hadn't been done by Pete or Sam Tran or the years before. And she really embodied this community aspect of the college as a whole and the relationships within that and invested in it. And as you've seen Maxine, I mean, you're always at school. I don't know if you live here or where you live, but I mean, you're always at school. And having her presence here is great so that people like me, people like any student can go meet with her. And so Max has done a great job of really investing in this community. And now that we have that platform down, and this is in my platform, I see the other possibilities to start expanding off of those and start bringing in some of my own unique ideas that I've learned from Reagan, that I've learned from other leadership positions, and to help serve the student body in a new and unique way.
Thank you. Tyler, it's your chance.
Okay. Okay, so Reese, this is for you. You talked about, you said, I'm not running on my own ideas, and right, you're taking ideas from others. But so how do you plan to continue building if you're just taking ideas from the past?
That's a good question. So taking ideas from the past, what I've learned in Reagan is going to help, and what I've learned as other House experiences is going to help for the future. Because in Reagan, we already have a system in place, and in the House future, we talked about the 501c10. Now, I don't know how many of you know about this, but it's the future of the House system to have a subsidiary organization underneath a umbrella organization, so which is the King's College and which is all the houses. And so I feel like I'm standing on the shoulder of giants, and that's the best quote I can say, because I have just learned so much by being able to be the president of Reagan and be able to serve on the council. And so you're right, I am only really bringing in other ideas, but at the same time, I'm using those ideas to fit my platform, which is to follow the King's mission statement, to influence strategic institutions, and help students get the opportunities they need to do that. So that's why I'm using others' ideas for my platform.
Okay, so we're going to do another round of these questions. I just want to clarify that if you guys would like to, you can ask the same candidate you did the first time. You don't have to address the other candidate. So Furman, it's your turn.
Well, this question is for Tyler. Seeing that the student body president is in charge of a council that 2/3 of it is made up of House presidents, and the fact that you've not held a position of House leadership, how do you think your lack of knowledge of how the House executive team, as well as the inner workings of the council, how do you think your lack of experience there will benefit your job?
Okay, so that's a great question. So what I've been thinking about is you have to have 1 year of leadership experience to serve as a House president. That doesn't mean you have to be an exec member to serve as your House president. So I've served as leadership under SAC. I'm the president of that. And in that organization, I have an events coordinator, I have a media coordinator, I have a spiritual life coordinator who are working, and I delegate jobs to make sure that we're getting students service projects out, we're hosting kayaking events, we're hosting dodgeball events, we're hosting opportunities for students to come together and really interact with one another. And I think that skill set and that experience can correlate very easily into the student body president's position, because I'm going to have the same cabinet that I need to be filled that I've had filled under the Student Athlete Advisory Committee.
Tyler, it's your turn to ask a question.
Okay. So, okay, back at you, Furman. Okay, so in your platform, you talk about using social media to communicate with House presidents. You talk about Twitter and things like that. Do you think that's an appropriate way to communicate with House presidents?
Well, I don't know if either I'm reading it wrong or you're reading it wrong, but after I say making sure that the House presidents are communicating with their houses, I say whether that be in the form of email, conversation, or social media is up to the presidents. So I'm not the one using the social media to communicate with the House presidents. The House presidents are in charge of using whether social media or email or whatever they like to communicate with the houses. Because I'm telling them to communicate with their houses, and they can choose whatever way they want to communicate with their house.
Okay. Reese, the last question is yours.
Awesome. So Furman, once again, back to you. So this is actually just like personal curiosity. I know like 4 days before, yeah, I know. I'm just curious. So like 4 days before, you were planning running for Bonhoeffer, and then there was the change. And I just want to know like what was going through your mind, because that must have been hectic. And just give us insight on that.
That's a very excellent question, Reese.
There it is.
I still don't really know the answer to that question. So it took me quite a while to decide between either House and student body. At one point, I was committed to the House, and then on Wednesday at 2 p.m., 3 hours before I needed to turn in my application, I decided, hey, I should probably run for student body president. And I'm not trying to say that either one of you could not do a good job, but I wanted to see an interesting race. And with having 3 people, and one of which is not from the same house, I just want this to be an interesting and exciting race for the rest of the student body.
Love it. Love it.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going to do concurrent speaking. This could be a little hectic. You're each going to have 2 minutes. I'll pair, you're in different pairs. And so first it's going to be Tyler versus Reese. Furman, I don't know if you want to move out of the way or not. But yeah, so you guys will have 2 minutes. You guys can speak over each other, and you can go back and forth for 2 minutes. Maxine, let us know.
Is there a
when-
topic, or are we just going at it?
You guys can just continue to
Just
address
go
what
at it.
you've been talking about.
Okay, so Reese. So you
Tyler.
talk about. All right, Reese.
Hey,
Calm down.
Whoa, man, don't be so offensive, all right?
So you talked about taking away from events funds.
Yes.
For like house retreats. And
Yes,
everything.
from Stephanie Garner. Where is
Yeah.
Stephanie Garner?
So as an athletic representative,
Yes.
we need money. We don't have a lot of money to host kayaking, to host dodgeball events like
Good
that.
point.
So
That's
we're-
why there's an athletic department.
What?
There's a different department at King's, the
Yeah,
athletic
yeah.
department.
Yeah. So this is why I've been working with Stephanie to hopefully get a dodgeball event happening on King's. Or not on King's campus. We don't have
Far
enough room. At Lehman High School.
No, I
So,
hear you.
because we need to continue the community, we need to continue the activities.
No, yeah.
And so we don't always have the funds to do that. So we're going to her to get some funds to build and foster community.
Yeah.
And offer another opportunity for the students.
Yeah, so
where
this
are
is
we
just
gonna-
this is just seeing personally serving as a House president. I know how important retreats are, and so I place retreats over a dodgeball game. That's
Yeah.
the kind of viewpoint I come from this. And so, I would hope that every House president would agree with that. That retreats are just so integral and so important for a House's community to develop and flourish. And so, coming from that viewpoint, as much as I would love to do a dodgeball game, and I think that's so fun. I love dodgeball, I really do. And so, having that opportunity, I would say save that for the future. I think that can be a great future idea and plan for our school. Now, Ty, so back to the point earlier. How are 10 House presidents going to meet with Bethany Jenkins?
It's not 10 House presidents meeting with Bethany Jenkins.
It's okay, 10 House associates.
Yeah, it's 10 associates that the House will appoint to serve with Bethany.
But
So
you
at the
said
beginning
she's
of the-
busy. You said and I know her student.
Yeah. So this is
Yeah.
coming from the conversation I've had with her before this. So I met with her. She and I worked together, and we came up with this idea. So at the beginning of the year, these 10 associates would meet with her at the beginning. She'll train that team,
Yes.
so that they can go out and serve their sub-communities,
Okay,
which
that's
is
it.
the House.
Dang it.
So,
All right.
That's
all
okay.
right.
All right. Good job, Ty.
All right, you serious? You
All
good?
right.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Okay. Now, Reese and Furman, you guys will have 2 minutes.
Hey, Furman.
Hey, Reese.
Do you want? Okay. Hey,
Go
Furman.
ahead.
So,
Tech.
my question is, what exactly? So I know serving the helmsman is not an easy position. I've seen the struggle that Taylor Thompson has gone through this year, and just trying to really rally everybody around each other. So that's great experience to use as the student body president. And so what exact and specific ways do you see yourself using what you've learned as helmsman to really just bring unity to the student body?
Excellent question. The point of the helmsman is not to plan events. It's to make sure that the community is being built and that your house is unified and your house has an identity. And one easy way to make sure that the house stays unified is that we're all working towards a common goal, and that everybody in the House of Bonhoeffer or whatever house, that we all love one another, because that's what God tells us to do, and that's what I think the mission statement's all about.
Yeah.
Building the community, that we don't want to outcast certain people because they're not following a certain rule or a certain tradition of the house.
Yeah. Will you have time to do that as student body president?
Well, I have time to build community as student body president.
Well, you said go out and reach the outsiders. Is that, because I know serving as president, you're holding in many hats, as Maxine says. There's just so many things that you have to delegate and work through. And so, is it you specifically who's going to go?
It's not going to be me specifically. I'm just
Okay.
going to make sure that the House presidents and the rest of their exec teams are doing that to make sure that everybody in their house feels properly represented.
So, okay.
So now, my question to you, going back to what I asked you before, why now would the student body want a platform that is eerily similar to Johnny Lyle's? And look who's student body president now, not Johnny Lyle.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously I'm not Johnny Lyle. That's what I would say. But first off, Johnny Lyle, his ideas last year are great. And I don't think that I think Maxine has great ideas too. And so my platform is, if you read more into it, it's combining the two. Just using what I've learned and the experiences that I use
That's it.
To make a better student body president.
It's time.
Thank you very much.
All right, for Min and Tyler, you guys have 2 minutes.
Go ahead, Tyler.
All right. All right. So you talk a lot about making sure the House presidents are doing this, that. So it kind of seems like you're imposing on them. They're elected there to serve their house. They'll have their own agendas and how they want to promote events and things like that. So how do you envision your relationship with the House presidents? I've already in my platform talked about having a dinner with them once a semester to build a good work community that we want to respect each other and work towards each other's goals. So how do you envision your relationship?
To base off what your question,
Yeah.
the houses elect their house presidents, and by that election, they need to make sure that the presidents are representing them, because if a house president is elected and they're not really serving the rest of their house and presenting their views and their ideas to the council, then I think the house president is doing quite a poor job if they're not representing their house. I wouldn't try to fight a house president or anything like that. I just need to make sure that they're informing the house presidents.
I'm here.
So I'm not going to attack a house president to inform things that are happening. So yeah. So my question to you, if elected student body president, I know that you're the captain of the basketball team. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Would you not be playing basketball, or do you think you could have the time and commitment to be both on the basketball team as well as serving as student body president?
No, trust me. This was one of the biggest things I've thought about before I ran, was will I be able to continue my passion, the sport I love, the thing that I grew up loving? And honestly, I'm going to drop it. I'm going to drop basketball, and I'm going to serve you guys, because that's what the job requires. It can't require any selfish thing that I'm just going to go out and play. It's going to require it's a full-time job. It's going to require my full attention and my full energy to serve you guys. So there's my answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're just going to have closing statements. Each of you have 2 minutes for this. Reese, you're giving the first closing statements.
So first off, I just want to thank you all for coming out here today. I hope you learned some more about each of us and our platforms and how we can best serve you as the student body president. Something I've learned this year in House leadership is it's just trying to make people happy. And so it's how can I make every member of my house happy to be in that house? From freshman, sophomore, junior, all the way up. How can I make them satisfied with where they are? And so the key principle goes back to having those around them that love you, having people you love and having them love you, and then having things to look forward to. And so moving the transition to being student body president, if I was elected, I would take this because people come to college, like I said, for two reasons: to get a job and so they can get a degree. But at the same time, we need to understand that Kings is unique. And so getting a degree, there needs to be community wrapped up around that. That has to be an integral part of our society, of our community here. And so as student body president, one of my things is we need communication to become so much better than it is right now. And I think a great way is with Maxine Fletta's idea of having an app that will allow every person to have directly on their phone the events that are going on at school. But also getting a job, something to look forward to. I've had the privilege of, I went on a donor trip down in North Carolina this year and just met with some of the people who fund our school and some of the people who are thinking about funding our school. And just talking to our donors, how much love and passion, excitement they have for us. And I feel like just standing here today that we lack that we don't fully appreciate where we are and what we have going for us. And so as student body president, my job is to enable you to flourish. That's what I want you to do. I don't want to be in the spotlight. I want to see y'all in the spotlight. I want to see you get that dream job, get that dream internship, do what you want to do. Because living in New York City, there's endless possibilities. Thank you for coming out today.
Thank you, Reese. Furman, it's your turn to do closing statements.
Thank you. First, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out to the debate. I know some of you may have homework or stuff to do. I thank Tyler and Reese for this fruitful debate. One thing that I want you all to leave with when you leave the city room now is, is what the student body president's role is. They are the representative of every single member of the student body. If you think that one of the three of us doesn't represent your interests or your views, then you shouldn't elect that person. And making sure that the House presidents who are in charge of their own little community, of each of the 10 little communities that build up this grander community, I need to make sure that that the House presidents are representing everybody else in their houses, because that'll make their job easier and my job easier. Because a student body that doesn't feel actively represented and actively involved by their student government will just not even care about their student government and not care about their school and not care about the vision and not care about their house values or their school's values. So make sure that when you vote next week, that you think about somebody who you want to represent you. Thank you.
Thank you, Furman. Tyler, now to you.
All right. Thank you guys for coming out again, and thank you for going through all this with us. It's been a trip. This campaign has been awesome. Look forward to the next week. All right. So I just want to backtrack a little bit. My first experience at King's, I was sweaty, nervous, overdressed, kind of like all of us right now. But I knew I loved the school the moment I walked on that new campus, and that's why I'm running. It's because I love the school. 3 things I want you guys to take away. Active presence. I've proved to you already that I'm on campus all the time. So I'm going to continue that next year as SPP. Collaboration. I've been working with Bethany to come up with this new idea to solve a problem. That doesn't come from me, but it comes from teamwork and collaboration. Also, with the new app that Maxine's proposing, there's going to be a huge learning curve for everyone to learn. So that's why I'm proposing whoever's going to be my director of orgs is going to have org meetings once a month for anyone who wants to learn how to develop this app so that they can better lead their own organization, their team, or whatever their interest may be. Opportunity. This creates opportunity for you guys to lead better, and also it creates opportunity for you guys to develop your careers and develop your internships. And that's why I'm running for SPP. Thank you very much.
Okay, everybody, I think that's all we have. Thank you, Reese, Tyler, and Furman. I'd like to thank you all for coming and remind you to follow the EST throughout the debates, or throughout the campaigns for SBP. And I'd like you to vote also between February 23rd and 24th. Voting opens on February 23rd at 1:30 and closes at midnight on the 24th. You will receive a link via email to cast your ballot. May the best candidate win.